Welcome to today's cooking class. I'm Stephanie Jordan. I'm the local food program manager at Sustainable Solano, and I am super excited to welcome our guest instructor and also farmer today, Terces Engelhart from Beloved Farm, which is just outside of Vacaville, California. So welcome, Terces. It's super great to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah. So a lot of you might know, if you've been to our classes before, that this is one of many that Sustainable Solano is doing over the next year or so to raise awareness of all the wonderful local food and specialty crops that are grown right here in Solano County by our local farmers. This series is also part of Sustainable Solano's larger vision to build a more resilient and sustainable local food system here in the county. And more on this project and past work can be found on our website at sustainablesolano.org. If you've been to our cooking classes before, you know that we sometimes, we always talk about the local farmers where we source, and even sometimes some specific agricultural areas here in the county. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and honor the indigenous people who have stewarded this land for many, many generations. And the unceded territory of California is home to nearly 200 tribal nations. And so we invite you to check out a map, which I will share in the chat in a couple minutes, just so you can learn more about where you live. We have a couple housekeeping items before I turn it over to Terces. So I'm going to try to spotlight her, but if you want to see her more clearly, you can use the speaker view button up in sometimes in the top right corner, just to change your view so you don't see all these little boxes all over the place. And then for questions, if you'd like to post them in the chat, I can relay them to her at the end, or you can use the raise hand button and just speak directly with Terces at the end during the Q&A. So Terces today is making an Asian rice bowl with fresh seasonal vegetables from the farm, and also a couple of interesting sauces. She's going to do a spicy cashew cheese sauce and a ginger soy sauce, and we're also looking forward to seeing how she makes her homemade almond milk from farm fresh almonds. I'm going to share the recipes really quick here. Let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, all right, share. So here those are, and I also attempted to email this to all of you via Eventbrite a couple hours ago. So here's the veggies, we've got the rice bowls, there's the sauce recipes, and then down here we've got the homemade almond milk. So feel free to just check your emails. We will also be posting these recipes on Sustainable Solano's website on the local food page, along with all of our other recipes. All right, I think that's about it for me. So I'm gonna, again, welcome Terces, and hey, before you get cooking, tell us a little bit about Beloved Farm.
Okay, great. Thanks, Stephanie. I appreciate it. And welcome to all of you who are here live. A couple things. So Beloved Farm is, well, first of all, Matthew and I have lived here for almost 14 years now. And it was a piece of land. There were no structures on it. And it was basically prunes, with the exception of a couple of fields that had a few row crops in it. But we have, over these 13 years, built a farmhouse, a barn, an outdoor kitchen, an outdoor bathhouse, a sauna. And so we always designed the farm to share it. And initially the idea was we would be sharing it with our 700 plus employees in the restaurant business, because that's our primary business, which most of us know COVID wasn't that friendly to. And so in this past 14, 15 months, Matthew and I have kind of shifted to really opening up the farm to local people. So we've added some rooms. We do a lot of hospitality. We do a lot of events, birthdays, weddings. We host people, we do overnights, families, and we kind of became this little getaway retreat center, especially during COVID when people wanted to have more space outside. So it's been a big blessing, and we thank the community for supporting us in that. And we're what you call a regenerative farm, and a regenerative farm is like one step ahead of what I would call sustainable. So sustainable is like sustaining something, keeping it the same. But regenerative actually means you produce more life. And the most important way to do that is to preserve, save, and nurture your soil. So the soil, the health of the soil is like the health of our gut. It's the same. A lot of disease happens in us when our gut flora is off balance. And one of the ways it gets off balance is pharmaceuticals. And unfortunately, pharmaceuticals are a primary way in modern medicine to treat most ailments. Just like in commercial farming, pharmaceuticals or, pesticides, herbicides, all of those are ways that they treat the soil. So we're saying, let's take care of this and let's take care of this, the soil, and actually regenerate life, have it be better year after year after year. And I don't know about you, but I'm in my 70s and I'd love to be healthier year after year after year, as opposed to have declining health or even sustaining health. So today, what I want to do is I want to just show you a really easy way that you can use locally grown produce. And I want to encourage you to say, there are a couple things you can do for your own health. One of them is eat locally, eat organic, and eat seasonally. Because if you eat seasonally and you eat locally, it means over the course of a year, you're going to get a beautiful blend of all flavors and all foods that are available. You're also going to be supporting local farmers because you're going to be purchasing what they're currently growing. Now, I'm like you, I'd love to have strawberries year round, but the truth is we don't grow strawberries in Solano County year round. There's a season, which we're entering into now. So now's the time to be eating strawberries and mulberries. We're letting go of citrus and we're going to start welcoming in some of our late spring and summer foods. But if you really learn to eat that way, you'll always have a lot of variety. You'll be eating food in its most flavorful form, and it'll be the most nutritious. So those are kind of the clues for you: locally, seasonally, and organic. And otherwise, I can't tell you that you're going to be getting the best that you could have. And we have a farm store here where we offer local, seasonal, and organic food. Okay, so I'm going to start with, and I just recommend that you ask questions as you go along in the chat box. And then Stephanie, you can just interrupt me as we go along so people aren't trying to save up. So first of all, what I want to say about cooking is you want to love it. You want to make food you like. And it's just more fun that way. I don't make food I don't like. I love to cook and I like to eat the food I cook because I prepare what I like. So today I'm going to start with an Asian rice bowl and I'm going to get it cooking, and then I'm going to show you how we make fresh almond milk, and I'll tell you a little bit of a story, our background around almond milk. So I'm going to turn on the skillet that's right behind me, and I'm going to turn it on. You're going to see that I said to a medium-high heat. And the reason I'm putting it at a medium-high heat is because I want to kind of sear the vegetables a little bit, and then I'll turn it down. And you'll see in the recipe, I said, you can also put a lid on it and let them steam a little bit. But I actually prefer vegetables not wet or soggy. I actually prefer them a little bit on the crispy side and tender, but kind of browned on the outside or seared on the outside. So I'm going to start by adding, now we use olive oil because we have an abundance of olive oil because we harvest olives and we press and have our own oil. So I'm going to use olive oil because that's a local food for us. So I'm just going to add the olive oil to the skillet. And then the first thing I'm going to do is, you'll see I have chopped onions and I have some whole cloves of garlic. And I'm gonna crush the garlic in a garlic press. And I'm actually gonna crush the garlic right into the onions because I'm gonna put them in there together. And you can chop the garlic if you want. You don't have to crush it, but I happen to love my stainless steel garlic crusher. And I also don't like big chunks of garlic. When my husband cooks sometimes and he chops it in big chunks, I'm usually like, oh, I just got a big chunk of garlic. And I love garlic, but I don't like so much garlic that that's all I taste. So I'm going to put the onions and the garlic in the skillet. And I'm gonna just let them start to saute a little bit. And while that's happening, the next thing I'm gonna add, so this is the food that we have in our garden that's ripe right now. So amazingly enough, we grow carrots. Now we've lived here for a lot of years, and we told the story, we can't grow carrots because we can't get them out of the ground when they're ripe, because our soil gets really hard by the time carrots are ready, and then it's like concrete and we couldn't get them out, and it was just too much labor. However, we have a really wonderful new gardener out of UC Davis, and he planted them a little bit earlier, and he's worked the soil enough now and our soil soft enough that we have a beautiful crop of carrots this year. And these are golden beets. Now, I like golden beets partly because if you use cloth napkins, red beets stain and golden beets don't stain. And so I like golden beets because I love the flavor of beets, but I hate trying to get the red stain out of linen napkins. So I'm gonna put the beets and the carrots in there because those take the longest to cook. And I'm gonna stir it a little bit, and I'm just gonna let them keep cooking. And the other thing we're gonna add is chard, which this is rainbow chard. And I love it because if you look closely, you'll see the red of the stems. So it's really beautiful. It's like appealing looking when you eat it. And this doesn't need very much time to cook, so that's gonna go at the end. And then this year we have beautiful peas. So these are the snap peas where you can eat the whole outside, inside, everything. And I love them. So they also don't need hardly any time at all to cook. So I'm gonna add them at the end. And I am gonna mix the rice in with it today, but you could always put warm rice in the bottom of the bowl and then just take the vegetable mixture and put it on top and then utilize whatever sauce you want. But I'm gonna mix it together for the purpose of this today. Okay, I'm gonna just turn this down a little bit and let it keep cooking while I make the sauce. Okay, and the first sauce that I'm gonna make, so this is a blender, and the first sauce I'm gonna make is the cashew one. So cashews, particularly people who have a dairy sensitivity, cashews are an awesome way to make a cheese-like substance that's non-dairy. So for people who are lactose intolerant. So I just put my cup of cashews in the blender. And then when I said in the recipe, cover with water, what I meant was, you see how there's more water in the blender than nuts. Do you see the difference? It's like the cashews are in there, but the water's completely covered them. So when I look down at the surface, I see water, not cashews, okay? And then I'm gonna add my nutritional yeast. And it's nutritional yeast that gives it kind of the cheesy flavor. And then I'm gonna add my salt. And I happen to like spice. And this is a dried habanero. But you don't have to use a habanero. You don't have to make it spicy. You could use a fresh serrano. You could even use red chili flakes, or you could use a milder dried chili. But I really like the spice. And so I'm putting in dried habanero. And then I'm gonna put the lid on this. It's gonna make some noise when I turn this on. But I'm gonna turn this on and blend it and show you the consistency.
Terces, I have a question about the almonds. Did they have the skins on them?
The almonds for the almond milk, they do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, you don't have to leave it's hard to get the skins off. It's labor intensive. I'm the kind of cook that I don't want to make things hard. I want to make things good. And so I'll tell you what happens. You'll see what happens when I mix it. So it should be smooth. There shouldn't be any lumps in it. And that's what this is. And I'll pour it into this bowl so you can see it. So it's kind of the consistency of like a sauce, and it's smooth. There's no lumps in it. Okay, so that's the cashew sauce. And I'm gonna rinse out this blender right here. I have this handy island sink. And that way I can do the other sauce, and I'm gonna stir the vegetables in between. And any questions so far? I should have tasted that sauce and see how that sauce tastes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just realized I was asking you about almond milk, not the cashew sauce, but you were doing the cashew sauce there.
Oh yeah, but that's fine. Yeah. Okay, so
yeah, I don't see any questions yet.
I'm going to show you what I mean by the vegetable difference. Okay, so if you saute your vegetables and you don't steam them, you see how there's like a little browns on the outside? Can you see that? And these are actually done, but they're still firm. They're not mushy. When you add a lot of water and you steam them, yeah, it'll cook a little bit quicker, but you also dilute it because a lot of the flavor goes into the water. So better to cook them a little longer, lower, in my opinion, and have them be like firm and super flavorful. And I haven't added any spice to this or flavor or salt or anything to it because I'll add it at the end, and we're gonna put sauces on them that have a lot of flavor. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is turn that all the way on low and make the soy ginger. So this is, I actually use tamari. And the reason I use tamari sauce is because it's gluten-free. So you can get a gluten-free. Soy sauce isn't. And, you know, we have people here, and a lot of people prefer to have no gluten in their food. So this is fresh ginger. And I'm not peeling it or anything. It's what you call one knuckle of ginger. And you know how ginger grows in kind of lumps? One knuckle is like one of those little lumps. And then I'm gonna put garlic in there. And I'm actually gonna add a little bit of water because I'm not making that much sauce in this blender. And then I'm gonna put this lid back on and blend it. And as soon as the ginger and the garlic are blended, it's done. There's no magic to how long this blends. And it's gonna smell amazing. And it does. And I'm gonna pour this sauce into here. And I don't mind a few little chunks of ginger if you get a little bit of ginger in it, because that tastes, you know how like they have those ginger candies? You guys know those? Shake your heads if you know those ginger candies. They're like kind of jelly, gingery candy. Anyway, they're yummy. Ginger is actually really good for digestion and for your stomach. So it's fine to get a little dose of medicinal ginger in your food, which probably people would say that about garlic too. I just don't like too much garlic. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, so the sauces are done. I'm gonna add the peas next to this skillet. And I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit. And that's gonna look just like this, so you can see. So that's gonna look just like this. I just added, oh, there's a beet for you. So I just added the peas to it. And then I'm gonna let that continue to cook for a minute. And then I'm gonna talk to you about almond milk. So here's my almond milk story. So we started our first restaurant, Cafe Gratitude. My husband and I are the founders of Cafe Gratitude and Gracias Madre, which are plant-based restaurants. And we started the first one in the Mission District of San Francisco in 2004. Now, in 2004, there was no commercial almond milk. And we spent a lot of time answering the question, how do you get milk out of an almond? today nobody asks us that question because now almond milk is mainstream. There's all kinds of milks in quotations. You know, there's almond milk, there's pea milk, there's oat milk. I mean, there's every kind of milk. And nobody asks that question anymore. But I'm going to show you how you get milk out of an almond. So this is our almonds, not soaked. So this is just raw organic almonds. And these are soaked organic almonds. Now, if I put them side by side, you'll see the difference. So look what happens to an almond when you soak it. Can you see that? It's like twice the size. So it takes on a lot of water when you soak it. And it also makes it soft and easier to blend. So I didn't take the skins off of these, and you don't have to. And even though you look at this and you think, well, that milk might be brown, it won't be brown. It'll actually be white. And I'm going to put a pinch of salt in it. Now, people do a lot of things to almond milk. You can add vanilla, which I'll add a little vanilla. And you can add dates or sweetener if you want, but you don't have to. You could do just almonds and water. I add a little salt because it actually does make it more flavorful. And then you add water. So I'm going to add enough water. And this is what I meant in that recipe by telling you 3 times. So if you did a cup of almonds, it would be like 3 cups of water. And how it looks is, I happen to have some almonds floating on the surface, but if those almonds were down here, it would be 3 times. So the almonds are 1/3, and then there's 2/3 more water on top of it. And then I'm going to blend this. And I am going to blend it till there's no chunks in it. And you can see what's happening. Notice it's white.
Terces, we have a question about the water that you used to soak. Someone's wondering if you could use the water that you soaked the almonds in, or do you need to get fresh water? Fresh water.
Now, you can see a little bit that this water is light brown. If I pour some off of here, you can see it. Now, when I first soaked them, it was dark brown. But now, wait, can you see? Let's see. You can't see too much the color of it, but it's beige in color. So no, you use fresh water because part of what goes into that water when you soak the almonds is kind of the tannins of it, and it's a little bit bitter. So that's the reason why you soak them, is to have it be tasty but not bitter. So I'm going to add the chard to this because those veggies are ready. I'm just going to add the chard. And again, just stir it a little bit. And that's just about done. The chard doesn't take hardly any time at all to cook. So that'll be done in just a minute. Okay, now here's what I do with my almond milk. So how we get milk out of an almond. This is actually, you can buy a really expensive milk straining bag, or you can buy a paint strainer at Ace Hardware. It doesn't matter. It's just a nylon bag. And I pour the almond milk in here. And then I lift it up. And you can see the milk. That's how you get milk out of an almond. And then you just squeeze it. And inside the bag is the pulp. So all the solids, which, by the way, if you were, if you were making a raw cake, raw as in not baked, you can use the nut flour, which is what's left. You don't even have to dehydrate it. You can use it wet for making cakes. You just add dates to it, and if you're making a carrot cake, you could add carrots, raisins, and pineapple, and this becomes the bulk of a raw cake. So you just squeeze this nut bag or paint strainer bag until it's dry, and then you have almond milk, and it's really, really good almond milk. It's gonna taste very, very different than the commercial almond milk that you're used to. So that's how you make your own almond milk, and it's amazing. And you can see that it looks like milk, or yeah, like milk. That's true. Okay, now I'm gonna bring the veggies over.
And Terces, we have another question about the almond milk. Someone's wondering, how long will it last in the fridge? I mean, I know you need to keep it refrigerated. It's very
you need to keep it refrigerated. You know, it's it lasts probably 5-6 days. It's a live product, right? So anything that's live will deteriorate.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't deteriorate, you shouldn't be eating it. So if you can keep something on your counter or on your shelf forever, I question the value of it. You want to be eating live food. Okay, so here's my veggie mixture. And I'm actually going to add the rice to it now. And I've got short grain brown rice here, which looks just like this. And I'm just going to stir it in a little bit. And then I'm going to turn the heat off and set this aside while oh, actually, no, I don't have to do that. I was thinking I still needed to make my sauces, but I don't. We're already ahead of ourselves. Okay, so here's what this looks like. And then, Matthew, since you're here, my husband just walked in. Since you're here, I'm going to have you taste it after it's done, because they might not believe me if I said it's good. They might think I'm just saying that. So there you go. That's what it looks like. And I'm going to just heat that a little bit because my rice is room temperature. I made it early. So I'm just going to heat that enough. And then I'll dish it up into here. And we'll put 2 sauces, one on one side and one on the other side. And babe, you can try it. Yeah. He's wanting to know if he can give my Asian rice bowls to a customer for dinner tonight. That worked out good.
lucky customer, yeah.
Lucky customer, lucky me. All right, questions? Anybody have questions?
I don't see any others coming in, but I do have a couple to throw out there. So you had beets in your veggie concoction here. You had the beets, the chard, the carrots. I'm just wondering, did you cut the beets up pretty small? Because they're very hard and often take a longer time to cook. So
I did. So I'll show you the size of a beet. So this is the size of a carrot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the size of a beet. They're about the same.
So maybe like 1/2 inch or something ish.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you know, again, it doesn't have to cook that long if you don't overcook it. That's a great way to say it.
Right.
Yeah, you want it to be, see, I like them perfect. Very good.
Crisp tender maybe would be a good, not
firm and a little, you want them to have structure. You don't want them to be mush. All right, that's actually warm. So my husband went away. So I'll have Mariana try it. Mariana's sitting here. And I'm gonna dish up and put, oh wait, Mariana's on a cleanse. Can you try this or not? Oh no. Matthew, can you get him? Okay, but I want you to just see how beautiful this is. Okay, so the other thing I want to say, can you see this? The other thing I want to say is when you start with good food, you don't have to do a lot to it. Food's good the way it grows. We have to manipulate food a lot when it's not that great a quality. But when you start with good quality food, you don't have to mess with it a lot. You just, you just keep it as close to its natural condition, and it's better that way, I think. This is my husband, Matthew. So babe, I'm gonna put some cashew nacho cheese on this side. And my earbuds are beeping, which tells me they might be dying. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep, so far so good. We're
Okay,
gonna hope
good.
for the best.
Okay, good. I just heard them beep to me.
Well, I'm just gonna do this or this.
Okay, so this is the cashew side and this is the ginger side.
So here's the thing. When you start with really good
That's what I just told them.
you can't,
See, we're like a broken record.
Well, there's definitely more nutrients in that food.
Now it's soy ginger, tamari ginger. Yummy.
So which is better, Matthew? Do you like it with the soy and ginger, or do you like it with the cashew?
Do you like it with soy
spicy
ginger or cashew
both?
better?
Should we mix them
He
both
likes
together?
he likes the soy ginger.
Likes the soy.
He thought the cashew cheese was a little spicy. Well, it is. Okay, great. Questions.
How
How many of you are surprised that it's easier than you thought?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are surprised. It's easier.
Yeah.
Can you
great.
tell us again how much of the chili pepper that you put into the spicy cashew cheese?
Well, okay, so I ended up making like 2.5 cups and I put one small dried habanero, but that would be considered spicy. So you can use, like if you use a jalapeno fresh or a serrano or dried, in that recipe I sent you, you probably use like half a chili.
Okay. Okay.
And you can always taste it and adjust it, right? You can, and also, by the way, this cheese sauce, well, cashew cheese sauce is a great dip for like tortilla chips, or you can put it on anything. So it's a great, we sell it in the store, but now you know how to make it at home. It's great on omelets or tacos or tortilla chips, or it's really great, especially for people who are lactose intolerant and don't eat cheese.
Yeah. So you sell it at the farm stand store?
Yeah, we do. It's called nacho cheese.
Oh, great. There is another question, just to reiterate, how long do you soak the almonds for? And then she's also wondering, did you soak the cashews for the cashew cheese?
Great question. You don't have to soak cashews. They don't have an outer skin. And so they actually blend really easily because they're a much softer nut. Ideally, you would, like, you get ready to go to bed, you'd soak your almonds, and then in the morning you'd rinse them, and then maybe rinse them a second or third time, and then use them. So I would say 12 hours if you really want to have them like fully soaked.
Okay, great. Thank you. You're getting lots of compliments. Somebody's wondering which blenders do we recommend?
Well, okay, you know, I'm in the restaurant business, right? So we use Vitamix, and we have a lot of old Vitamixes because we have a tendency to get the duds from the restaurant and then we get them rebuilt or something. However, I just recently got a new Vitamix, and it's not a commercial one, it's a home one, and it's not that expensive, and I bought it directly from Vitamix. It's called the Series 700, and it's not, I actually really like it. I don't think it has the horsepower of their professional line, but it works well, works great. But you want a liquefying blender And there's lots of them on the market now, but Vitamix is like kind of guaranteed for life. You can always fix it. So it's an investment. If you're going to cook all the time, you know, Vitamix is like, get the right tools. It's a really good investment.
Awesome. You know, Terces, you had in your ginger soy sauce, if for some reason we can't get fresh ginger, there was an option to use ginger powder. About how much would you say?
I would say in that recipe I sent you, you would probably use like a quarter teaspoon, because I didn't give you big quantities because I was believing that people are probably cooking food for, you know, 1 to 4 people on an average. We cook food for in a large quantity here, but those recipes are really intended for like home use, small family.
Right. Great. Thank you. Let's see, I'm just looking here through the questions. Lots of thank yous. It's making people hungry. Seems simple.
So
yes.
You guys, I'll just tell you, on May 15th, so we do farm dinners on the farm from time to time, usually once a month. And we have a really good friend who's an amazing French chef, and she's coming and doing a rustic French dinner using food from our land, and that's May 15th. But if you go to belovefarm.com and you look at events and registration, we have a lot of things that go on. So we have tours and wine tasting because we make our own wine, and we have festivals, and we have olive harvest, and we're going to have a blackberry you pick. So if you're interested in staying connected to a local farm, follow Be Love Farm on Instagram if you do Instagram, and you can go to belovefarm.com and just pay attention there to the events that we have going on, because really we're about serving our local community, and you are that. So yeah, we're here really to serve you.